Hello and welcome to the Super Rugby Round 7 preview brought to you by DrivingMaul. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, a website, podcast, Twitter account and YouTube channel bringing you the best in rugby predictions and opinion. Don't forget to subscribe on your favourite podcasting apps that we drop into your phone every week or every night it feels like at the moment. And also please leave us a 5-star review. Other stars are available, but why would you want to do that? If you'd like to know watch what happens behind the covers, the show is live on YouTube at 8 PM New Zealand time every Thursday. And joining me this week, I have Jess out of Hamilton. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
all decked up in your Chiefs gear, ready for the game tomorrow night?
Just gonna sleep in it and then wear it to the game tomorrow. Easy.
Oh, dearie me. So there'll be guys who are doing that though, and they'll turn up all smelly, I'm sure. Even though I went to one of my biggest tweets, or one of my fun teams. I was at the Chiefs versus the Blues a couple of years ago on the green bank by the big screen.
Yeah.
And there were these two couples in front of me, and they were just chatting at each other and not looking at the game at all. So I took a quick photo of them and tweeted out. I can't remember the exact wording, but sort of lines of, "Are you at the rugby or going on a date?" And put the hashtag.
Why not both?
And the Chiefs' social media found it and put it up on the big screen.
That's awkward. Did they look behind them?
They said, "Who did that?" It's like, "Yeah, me, hi." And they're like, "Yay, cool." So it was all fun. It worked out well. They didn't turn around and hit me. Anyway, that is the first game of the weekend. It is the Chiefs versus the Highlanders. And what do you think of the Chiefs side that's been named?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest. I actually think that the number 9 last week, I'm a little scared to say his name, so I'm going to say Triple T. I think he did a really, really good job. But I guess Brad Weber is still ahead of him.
Yeah, and it's good to give him some game time and experience having to come on. If Brad Weber gets injured, then clearly you're going to need the experience there as well. Obviously, the big news is that it is Sam Cane's 100th Super Rugby cap.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So you'll be down the front there with you trying to get his signature on his autograph on a match program.
I'm trying to be mate. Oh, I'll be like, ugh, whatever.
What about Solomon to number 15? I thought he would be looking good on the wing.
Maybe because he is looking so good on the wing, they just wanted to see how he would go at 15. Maybe they have that much confidence in him. And
obviously, the person who was started there at the beginning of the season, Charlie Nartai, is back on the bench as well. So you must be happy to see him back.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was actually out for the whole season. I don't know where I saw that, but I thought he was done. Do you know what actually happened?
No, I can't remember what his injury was now.
It was head related.
It was head related. I'm surprised. Then I'm not surprised he is back at but they can be up and down. You're not really sure how long they're going to be. Whereas people like Bird, who's got I think it's a knee injury, isn't it? They know that actually the recovery from that is going to be the whole season. So
maybe the strategy is to just see how everything goes and then put Charlie into that 15 fullback, Solomon back to the wing. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, probably see what Wainui or Pulu come off be pulled off at some point.
How do you feel Marty did last week at 15? Do you think that there was an issue there and that's why they haven't put him at fullback this week?
Well, last week it was the Sunwolves, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether you can read anything out of that game. It was just too one-sided, to be honest. So I think this is probably rotating players. They've got injuries and giving various players a go as well.
Yeah.
Then over to the Highlanders. It appears that basically, if your name is something like Dixon, then basically it doesn't matter how you spell it, you're going to get in the side, because Josh Dixon comes on into the locks position this week. So it's going to be interesting to see how he goes. I'm not sure if it's his debut at that level or whether it's I think it might be his debut start. I think he's come off the bench a couple of times. So it's his first appearance of the season in Middle Row. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. And then Fadders at 13 as well is a bit of a. I guess Buckman must be out injured.
Do you think the Highlanders have a lot of confidence going into this game?
Clearly, the loss against the Canes last weekend isn't going to have helped. So they're gonna have so that sort of thing. So they are away from home, and teams away from home haven't done well this season. But they've got all their key players there, haven't they? Apart from I've forgotten who the Lucy is that they're missing.
Liam Squire.
Yeah. So apart from Liam Squire, it's pretty much the first choice. You've got Aaron Smith, Sopawanga, Tavita Lee, Naholo, Ben Smith, all there. Rob Thompson's been doing well.
I saw a lot of talk online that people felt like Lima wasn't playing that great as of late. They said that they felt like his shoes were already in the Northern Hemisphere, his boots. What do you think of that?
I think that people are going to say something like that about all the players. As soon as they don't have, as soon as they're not 100% on, then they're going to go, oh, it's because he's leaving.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think once you've, maybe he. It seems like they've got a good culture down there. It seems like a place where I think they do enjoy themselves. But I do think that, so I think I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Okay.
Joel in the chat thinks, I think the Highlanders are the better side with the current situation, but home advantage will prove too much.
And sorry, do you think that there's something to it being, a player's 100th game? Just like last week with TJ, it's almost like, they build up this atmosphere during the week and they do interviews with him and sort of try and get the fans hype about that. Do you think that counts for anything?
I think it does, but I think different players will react to it in different ways. Just like you'll find different players will react to being in a final differently to a normal game, because again, the build-up around those games is much more different, and it's why we talk about test animals as well. Players that play in test matches, it's a bigger crowd, there's more media attention, so there are more distractions and more hype. So yes, and I think Sam Cane's the kind of person who will thrive off that.
And being the captain as well, I feel like that will have an impact on the team. Like they'll want to play well for him, give him a memorable game.
Absolutely. I think the only problem that you might have is if he tries too hard. And that he basically he thinks he has to try and create something when it's not on.
Yeah.
And therefore picks up the odd penalty or too many. But that would be my only concern around it. I think otherwise, I mean, he's a 30, 40, 50 cap All Black, has got a Rugby World Cup medal, winners medal. Big occasions aren't going to faze him. It's only if he feels he has to try and do things that I think maybe he'll overstep it.
Okay.
So I've gone with home advantage. I'm backing the Chiefs by 5. What are your thoughts for
how this one will go? I was really surprised that you were backing the Chiefs. Everyone I've talked to honestly seems to think that the Highlanders are going to win, and I think it could go either way, but I genuinely believe that the Chiefs can win, and I think they'll win within 7, a close margin, but I think they can do it.
Yep, I'd say home advantage has been a massive thing this season. If we run through briefly, we've had the Sunwolves have obviously lost at home, as have the Warriors, but that you kind of expect. The Bulls lost to the Lions, and the Blues lost to the Chiefs. But apart from that, I can't remember. I think that's pretty much the list of home losses.
Yeah.
So no other New Zealand side apart from the Blues have lost at home so far this season. So
don't jinx us.
So being a stats kind of guy, that's where that's basically what's ruling my thoughts on this one. And hence I'm going Chiefs by 5.
Cool.
So after that, we pop over the ditch to Australia, and we have our first Trans-Tasman challenge, or Trans-Tasman game, and that's not a very good help that my Rebels team list has come up with page not found. So the Rebels, who are that have got the most points in the competition with 20 points, are the top New Zealand Australian side quite clearly. Okay, fine. They have had a rather easy run. But how do you see them going in this game?
I think that the Hurricanes I think the margin's going to be large to the Hurricanes. I think the Rebels have just had an easy run of it. And the Hurricanes are on a real, they've got a lot of momentum at the moment.
They have, but if we look at the squad, we've got Jack Maddox at fullback for the Rebels, which is much better than Reece Hodge. who moved there against the Waratahs, which basically lost them that game. You've got Will Genia in there and Maffey, who are the sort of two of their key players. And then you've got Corabetti. Tom English has come back into the side as well. So you've got to say that back line is pretty good, apart from Debrasini, who I really just don't rate. Defensively, he's fine, but attacking, he's a bit of a waste of time. And with players like Adam Coleman in the pack, they've got some sort of chance. I think the big problem is going to be actually up front, which is not what you'd normally say against when you're talking about the Canes. But I think that Rebels pack could be going backwards. Okay. Then, if we look at the Canes lineup for tomorrow, Fatia Falofa on the bench. He's announced that he's heading overseas at the end of the season. Another one to be running away from the side, from the country. And
where is he going?
He's going to Worcester in England.
Oh, okay.
Worcester Warriors. And it's interesting that we have Vince Arso is actually starting with Lamapi for this one.
Yeah, I really like him. I really rate him as a player. And he did really well last week.
But that was out on the wing. It wasn't really at centre, was it? And I think so. Interesting to see that Proctor has been dropped entirely out of the 23.
What do you think the reason for that might be?
There could. I'm not sure if he's. I've not seen any comments that he's injured. I don't think. So I think it's purely rotation. Mm-hmm. You can't play your best side every single week, so there is that, and they have got the players that they can.
Yeah, they got a lot of options.
Good options there, and the fact they got so that Ben Lamb is keeping Hooson or Goosen, how you say it, on the bench. When Hooson had a great start to the season, is also shows signs of depth. Whilst I said that I think the Rebels pack could be going backwards, again, that's always where you kind of wonder it. But with May and Evans, I think are going to have to put in a big shift, and you do wonder a bit about that second row if it's really up to it. Because I mean, Fafita I think is more a 6 than a 4. Which can make that pack a little bit lightweight sometimes.
Interesting.
Apparently Proctor has a niggle, which is why he's out.
Oh, okay.
So there we go. Thank you, Joel, for that one. And Billy Meeks was amazing, was good versus the Sharks. Yep, it's going to be good to see how he goes. Again, being a bit more challenged in this one. So you've already said Hurricanes by many. So how many?
I wrote on Super Brew by 10. But honestly, I think even higher, maybe. I'm happy to be proven wrong, by the way. But
one that you think could blow out. I've gone Hurricanes by 5. The Rebels have been good at home, so I think whilst I can't see them beating the Hurricanes, I do think they could be able to keep it. They might be able to keep it close. We then head back to Auckland for the Blues versus the Sharks, and this is where we start to unfortunately run out of having teams because the South Africans don't generally announce their teams until midnight tonight.
Did you see where Rico is playing this week, though?
Yes, I did. So Rico is playing at 12.
Yeah, interesting, right?
With Moala at 13. Are you happy with that change?
I just like him on the wing. Maybe that's wrong, but just let him do what he does best. Why are they putting him there? Well,
obviously Sonny Bill Williams is out.
Yeah, so, I guess.
But... So that's part of it. And I've forgotten the here we go, struggling with names. Faiane, F-A-I-A-N-E, Faiane. I've not been impressed by him at 12. And if we look at the combination of Perifeta, Rico Iwani, and then with George Moala, you've got two guys who can release George quite happily with that. And a lot of people have been saying actually that why would you put the best 13 at 12? And I'd say, well, why would you put the best 11 in the country in the centres? So it's where he wants to move inside.
Does he? Okay.
Into the centres at some point, whether it's 12 or 13. He's played all his NPC rugby at 13.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So And it was only it's only when he stepped up to Super Rugby that Rico moved on to the wing. So yeah, no, I'm sure he's happy to play. I think he's probably more comfortable at 13 than 12, but it is going to be interesting. He will get his hands on the ball more, and that might be part of it. Is let's just get Rico's hands on the ball because he makes things happen.
He does.
So yeah, Joel reckons I really don't like Rico in the midfield. It's probably good for his growth as a player, but he's not the best distributor.
And maybe like the longevity of his career, because on the wing it's all about pace, right? And that can't keep
Absolutely.
well. And he's so young that he could have legitimately 10 years.
Yep, and also the Blues with you got Nanai and Jordan Trainers come in on this one, and they've got Duffy. And so forth. So they've got players who can play at wing. They aren't quite so stacked in the midfield, especially now that Sonny Bill Williams is down. So yeah, I personally think it's about getting his hands on the ball more.
Okay. How long is Sonny Bill out? I know he hurt his hand, right?
4 to 6 weeks with a broken wrist. Hurt his hand. It's a broken wrist. That's not
same thing. I saw the cast.
So he's out in the packs as pretty much as we would expect. Manu Parsons, I think it might be and here we go again, another name I'm going to struggle with being as dyslexic in all these letters. Temi Otia.
Okay.
I think saying he's come in as well to have a but that's with Tugafasi and Duffy have been given one of their 2 mandatory rest games this game, so which is why we're not seeing those 2 players in the side.
Have the Blues had their bye yet?
Yes.
Okay.
They have. But up against the Sharks, who haven't travelled well, who have been a bit up and down, this is a kind of game where you are going to rest. If you have to rest some players, this is where and if you are going to bring some players through, I personally would have brought Trainer on off the bench, but clearly they have faith in him to start. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes out there on the wing. Yep, Joel reminders. Yes, last week was the Blues bye week.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Short memories. So your thoughts on the game? Is this one that the Blues will get?
Yeah, I think the Blues I put by 12. I think they're going to do great.
So I've gone Blues by 10. I can't see the Sharks winning it. The Sharks have only had 1 win and a draw so far this season. They really have disappointed us, and I think they just want to get through the rest of this tour, which is they play the Blues this weekend and the Hurricanes next weekend from memory. I think they just want to get through this tour, get back to South Africa, regroup and start again, because it has been an awful start to the season for them.
Yeah.
Moving on then. Brumbies versus the Tars, and the big news around this one: Pocock is starting at 7.
I didn't know that. Why is he doing that?
Because he's back from injury.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
What? David Pocock will be number 7.
I know, he's like a big deal. Yep, I got it. I thought I was confusing him with another player.
So
very knowledgeable.
Dear me. So yes, so Pocock's back for the Brumbies, starting at 7. So that's going to be a big deal for them. The other thing I think that's interesting is they're sticking with their having Horia at 10, and I'm sorry about butchering the names, and Leofano at 12. So that great distribution. Leofano has been a little better at 12 than in the last game out. And then when you got players like Kurandrani and Spate outside them, they really have got if those two, if they can release those kind of players, they are going to cause some damage. But yeah, I think it's all going to come down to Pocock. For them, I think he's one of the most important players in the competition. Moving on to the Tars. Have you? My big one here is seeing that Nairavaaro has obviously done enough in the last game, barging players over to get himself a start. But he's just not he's a big guy, but if you put the ball in behind him and turn him, he's not great defensively. So I do worry about them about that.
Oh, and they got Folau on the wing again.
And they've gone Folau on the wing again. Yeah, expect an aerial bombardment from Foley and Beale. I'm just amazed at Foley. That Beale has racked up 114 caps in this competition in Super Rugby.
How do you rate him, by the way?
What, Beale?
Mm.
Beale, I think he's a very good player. Defensively, I do worry about him as a 12. If you've got your Sonny Bill Williams or someone like that to crash through him, I'm more than happy. So I do worry about him defensively. Attacking, he can be mercurial and can make things happen, which is great. And he gives you that second kicking option as well. You're clearly not a fan.
I don't know. I just find it really hard to care about the Australian players. I know that sounds really awful, but yeah. I do actually like Foley though. Burnett, the kicker. I like him. Yep. I think he's a good player, but yeah.
Yeah, and again, this game is going to be about Hooper, Foley, Beale, Folau, with the supporting cast of players like Naravolo and Curtis Rona, because if we look at their bench, it is Johnson Holmes, the reserve prop with 4 caps. Your back row standing fourth has only got 4 caps. Miller 3, Short 2, Fichetti 4, Newsom 4. It's a really inexperienced bench for the Tars. So it's their key players in that starting 15 really have to step up and win this for them.
Yeah.
So which way do you see this one going?
I think the Waratahs by 7.
I'm going with home advantage again and the Pocock factor, and I'm backing the Brumbies by 3. So I think this one so I think this one could be close. And now for the last 2 games, we haven't had the teams announced yet. But first off, over in South Africa, Bulls versus the Stormers. 2 teams that have had a tough tour, got their tours out of the way, lost all their games on tour, but back home, and I think probably happy to be back home.
Yeah, for sure. I actually think that the Bulls did pretty well against the Chiefs in that first half of the game. If they could play like that all the time, they would have been much more lethal.
Yeah, and the Bulls obviously saw off the Canes in week 1 or week 2, sorry, round 2, but the Canes opening game. So the Bulls have got it in them to score points, but it is a young side. It is a new coaching structure. They are taking their time to get up to speed, and I think it is a 2-3 year project that Mitchell has got in his hands there. But Joel reckons Stormers are going to win the South Africa Conference. Well, we'll have to see about that one.
If the Lions don't pick it up, then...
Well, we'll talk about the Lions next. But the Stormers obviously having trouble to altitude against the Bulls. And again, the Stormers have lost all their away games. They've won all their home games. So I've actually gone for the Bulls by 3 on this one. And how about yourself?
According to earlier in the week, I put the Stormers by 6. So
you've gone the other way, and obviously on the same thought process as Joel on that one. Yeah. And then the final game of the round. This one's midnight New Zealand time on Sunday night. The Lions versus the Crusaders. So thoughts on the Lions?
Where have they been? What have they been doing?
They're not
doing well, are they, at all?
Well, they lost to Haguaros last weekend, obviously. And welcome Cornflake or Steve on the live chat. Good to see you there. They lost to the Haguaros last weekend after beating the Sunwolves only by 2 points at home and losing to the Blues before that. So they've definitely had a ropey 3 games leading into this. One of the things we said pre-season was that their coach technically is good. He's been part of the Lions coaching setup for the past few years. He knows what he's doing, but he doesn't have the charisma of Ackerman. So does he have the leadership, the charisma to raise the players when things go bad? Because that is really the problem. That's really the question marks that we've had. And so this game and probably the next game is going to tell us a lot about the Lions.
What's the next game? Sorry.
I've forgotten, but I can't see them beating the Crusaders. So,
yeah, no,
so whilst we're looking for an improved performance this week, and obviously it's a rematch of the Super Rugby final last year.
Oh yeah, true.
So everyone will be definitely up for it. But they need to. I can't see them winning this one, but we do need to see improved performance out of the Lions, and then they really do have to win the next game. Otherwise, as Joel says, either the Stormers or the Bulls will be breathing down their necks for that South Africa conference.
Yeah.
And the Crusaders, what are you expecting out of them?
I'm a bit embarrassed because I see what you picked the margin to be. I actually put 20 Crusaders by 20. I just really believe in them, obviously.
Joel says Lions got a bye after this week, and maybe they'll need that before.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure what the next game is. So yes, I've gone Crusaders by 3. You've gone for them by 20. They're still missing. I've gone blank. Mo'unga, and
he'll be back soon, though, I think.
Yes, he will, but not for this game. Oh, not for the next 2 games because he's not on tour. And the Crusaders, are on. I think they go to Haggaro's next, but I could be wrong. So for me, that's a big loss for them. Mitch Hunt. Sure, he can come on and kick a long drop goal at the end of the game, but he's not someone I want running my game for me.
He's not carrying the game. He's not. Yeah.
Yep. So Joel says next week the Lions have the Stormers, and yes, they will need to do well against them. That could be a crunch. Them against the Stormers could be a crunch game, especially if the Stormers win this week. It could be a deciding game as to who takes the Africa Conference. So Mitch Hunt for me isn't the guy to run a game, so I do think they need to they need Mo'unga back to add that X factor to give them a bit of a spark.
Yeah. Do you think it's an age thing or just as a player?
I think just as a player.
Okay.
So Mitch Hunt, I just don't think Mitch Hunt's got that. Isn't that style of player? That X factor style player, and then when you've got Crossy inside you again, Crossy's extremely solid, but he's not an X factor player.
Yeah.
Which then puts a lot of weight on Goodhue's shoulder out at 13.
Yeah.
And
Avili was doing a lot in the game against the Bulls last week. I watched it twice over. He was doing a lot more than you know.
I'll be very impressed with Goodhue this year. I think when Crotty got injured against the Chiefs, wasn't it? I think it was. When Crotty and Whitelock both went out with head knocks against the Chiefs, I was very impressed by how he stepped up and took authority in that back line during that game. And I've been very he's to me he has All Black written all over him, and if he's not in the All Black squad this year, I'll be amazed. But because he's been playing extremely well. So Goodhue is my sort of bolter for the All Blacks, if it were. So he'll be there. This is going to be a fantastic battle up front. The Lions have got a good pack, and obviously the Crusaders rates their pack as well. So that's going to be a great battle. And then we have just good matchups between Springboks and All Blacks all over the park after that. So it's a shame that Mo'unga isn't there. So I'm back in the Crusaders by 3. I think they've got too much class for the Lions, who are demoralised at the moment. But I do think they are missing a lot of players in the Crusaders. Yeah. So cool. Jess, thank you very much for joining me for this round 7 preview.
You're welcome.
Why don't you let people know how they can get in touch and chat with you about rugby?
You can follow me on Twitter at JAM8391. That's where I'm at.
Cool. So chat all things rugby there. And also at DrivingMaul on Twitter, you get hold of me. Please do subscribe. Red box down below on my face is there on the recording. A box up there for my latest video. And don't forget to subscribe on that wonderful podcasting app that you're using, and enjoy whatever rugby you're watching this weekend.